Hey, welcome back to another episode. Matt and Ez here. And oh my gosh.
Holy smoke.
Where do we begin? As you
Uh,
know, you and I both just watched Superman yesterday. I watched it at about 5 o'clock my time. You watched it. Man, you must have watched it late because you
10.
10.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was messaging you at like 2 in the morning. I was out there
Yeah,
just
because I was up
alone
at
in the
like
way.
8 or 9, and I'm like, wow, you're still up. Why playing? What
Yeah.
messes me on this? Wow, man, my expectations for this movie were really high because a lot is riding and was riding on this, perhaps the future of DC, and we can get into a little bit of that as well because man, Warner Brothers is in a total restructure right now. It feels like they've been restructuring for the past like 20 years, and I mean, this was like a make or break movie for Warner Brothers. And as we're soft rebooting the DC franchise, going from the DC EU into the DC EU, James Gunn's now in charge of everything. Where do we go from here? All of these things we're going to be talking about, but let's dive into the movie. This is going to be complete spoiler territory of a thing. Talk about the things we like, things we didn't like, where we think DC and the Superman and franchise is going forward. How does this stack up against other Superman movies? Is David Cornsweet the best Superman ever? I don't know. There's a lot to break down because it's so good. And I am way more of a Batman fan. That's like my DC lineage. As you are on the other side, you are way more the Superman fan,
right?
And this is a little more right up your alley because I saw elements of everything in this movie. I mean, a lot of people, and I'll toss it to you here in a second, as a lot of people described this as a live action version of the Superman animated series from like the 90s. Right. There's the Batman animated series and there's the Superman animated series, and they had a crossover. Then it kind of turned into the Justice League thing. And then it kind of actually morphed into its own little extended universe there. And I think they were right. That was the tone. It actually also felt strangely Smallville to me, when I look at it and I think about it. So as I'm going to toss it to you, initial thoughts. What did you think? Total spoiler territory.
I was not sure going into this. I'd read a couple different things where people were starting to kind of throw a little early shade at it, and I was like, oh man, come on, is this really, is there something, what's wrong with this film? Honestly, phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I wasn't sure what James Gunn was going to do with the origin story stuff because he's been kind of criticized a little bit for the origins, and is he going to go into Superman's origins? Is he going to just introduce superheroes in, and how's that all going to work? And literally, you didn't need to. In the opening scene, he just does like this 3 centuries ago meta-human show up on Earth. And I was like, oh my God, the intro with the text on the screen was amazing. 3 decades ago, Superman shows up. 3 hours ago, like the city of Metropolis was attacked. 3 minutes ago, or whatever it was, he's defeated for the first time. And I was just like, holy smoke. So like the intro and the walkthrough on that was phenomenal. I honestly couldn't believe how good of an intro it was. I was a little worried we weren't going to get to know this Superman and understand his origins, where he comes from, the back and forth. And it ended up just being sick. It ended up being like a phenomenal opener. I knew within the first seconds of this that it was going to be great. I didn't expect it. And then from there, it just takes off. Pacing's great, but it's one of the best Superman movies I've ever seen.
I mean, I actually really liked the intro. And, some people push back. Do we need an origin story? No, I don't think we do. It'd be one thing if you're introducing characters that we're completely unfamiliar with, like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's like a B to C tier before. Now they're big, but you go back and they were not very popular of characters, and now they're a big deal because they're brought into the MCU. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and you're talking about the A tier superheroes. We don't need that origin story. We got one 10 years ago with Man of Steel. That's something else I want to talk a little bit about, is like this compared to Man of Steel, because a lot of people are making comparisons. No, I thought actually the intro was great. We know it. And they actually did, in a way, kind of give you a little bit of the origin, right? Like then when he goes into the Fortress of Solitude and he's on the table and he is talking to the robot 4, who was great by the way, and he is getting healed up and they're patching him up, they actually show him that message from Jor-El, Bradley Cooper, by the way. That wasn't expecting that. I guess I didn't, know that Bradley Cooper was going to be into this. So in a way, we did get the origin a little bit by showing that message of his parents. Like we still got it just enough to where it was kind of cool. And then they made it a big part of the deal. Like, oh, actually, he was sent here to do this. They wove the origin in enough to where you do still have it, but it doesn't need to be the first like half hour of the movie.
Totally agreed. And I thought that going even to see Jonathan and Martha Kent, I thought those moments were epic. They were awesome. They were perfect. And they do even give you light. They shed light on that backstory, and to see the posters on the wall and all that kind of stuff. This is one of the most famous characters, comic book characters in the world. Like we've seen the origin stories over and over again. So it's fine to jump right. And like I said, that lead in was phenomenal. I don't think you needed it. I was nervous. Again, I was nervous because I was like, how's this going to work? And within seconds, I was like, nope. James Gunn said he wanted to just have people basically open a comic book and be able to jump right into that story. Mission accomplished, because it was like you pulled a brand new comic book off the shelf and said, yeah, what do we have here? And it just, you just jumped right into it. So I don't think we needed the origin story. We'll get more. We're going to get more from Cousin. We have more Superman and Supergirl, other, things coming up down the line. So we'll get more of that Krypton backstory and everything as we go. I got to say too, one of the other things that I think really, I'm not actually a dog person necessarily, but I mean, holy smokes, Crypto being there as
Crypto stole the movie.
I mean,
I was with my wife, and her and I are on very opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to, I would say, just not only superhero movies, but movies in general. Like for me, it's like I'm actually the people where I actually liked the DC EU. Like I liked Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I liked Joker. I loved the Batman because I love those dark, gritty stories. Those tend to be more towards what I go to, that are usually a little more drama heavy than action heavy. She is the opposite. She likes the Marvel stories that are a little more action, comedy, a little bit lighthearted. She loved this movie. She's like, Crypto is the best part. I mean, he's hilarious. And then when Mr. Terrific had the balls and they're in the universe and he's doing it, like you straight up knew that Crypto was gonna I lost it. I thought that was like the funniest part of the whole movie for me. It's like, Crypto's about to see that ball and freaking chase it.
He's not on the same page with Kal-El, it's like, is this Kal-El's dog, or is this then we find out at the end it's not. And that was a perfect way to lead us into Supergirl and everything. And
I liked that they didn't make us wait until the end credits for that, and it was just like the end scene. I thought that was really cool. And by the way, this was actually like a Justice League movie. I mean, we didn't just jump into Superman. We jumped into a world with other superheroes. We got Green Lantern. We got Hawkgirl. I mean, that also was really, I think, cool. And I think they did it in a very well done way. So it's not just like, oh, hey, here's a superhero. Now we need to go find another superhero. Now we need to go find another one, because we're in a totally different place with superhero movies now than we were, 20 years ago, where you just need kind of like this character to work on their own. Now we're all about Marvel, Avengers and X-Men, and the Fantastic Four comes out next week, and like these team other things. So I thought it was cool. We went into a universe not only with Superman, but with other superheroes as well.
Yeah, that was key. You remember the weird squid looking, or that when they're fighting outside the window, he's talking to Lois. That was key to show we don't need Superman all the time. He's like, they've got it, right? That's not a Superman level villain. You guys got that one. I'm having a moment with Lois. Give me a break here. And so that was kind of fun. And I think it shows, this world it's like, there will be times where you need Superman. There's times where you don't. And Green Lantern's got it. Like, he was also hilarious. The Green Lantern was freaking Oh God, the
Oh,
middle
great.
fingers at the end were just unbelievable.
And I love the fact that they went. I think, you know, seeing Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, then that's the Green Lantern they decided to go with. I think was perfect rather than going with. I mean, we know we're going to get we know there's a Lanterns thing down the line, but I think Jonathan Stewart, that's my favorite Green Lantern is already cast. I don't, you know, we don't know anything about if we're going to get a Hal Jordan Green Lantern, but I like that they went with that Green Lantern because it actually played a big part into this movie, because anytime you have a Superman movie, the question is always like, how do you, in order to kind of beat him, right? Because often it's kryptonite. That's what they go with. And kryptonite sort of did play a little bit of the role in this, but it wasn't like the main thing, which has been done, you know, time and time again. I mean, that was, you know, a big part of Batman versus Superman. It was a big part of, you know, the old Superman movies, you know, with Christopher Reeve, and then we saw it in all the other live action Supermans, right? I mean, freaking Smallville was nothing but kryptonite, green kryptonite, red, yellow,
kryptonite left and right, dude.
Rainbow kryptonite. I mean, oh
blue,
my God,
purple,
it's like
pink.
I mean, it was ridiculous, you know. It was just utterly ridiculous. That's all Smallville was every possible kind of kryptonite you can imagine. So I did like that it was still part of it, but they didn't go ultimately. It wasn't the whole focal point. But by having the other superheroes, what they did do, and man, it's kind of like you think about with the route they went with like Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, they kind of still had some of those elements, but they did it in a different way where they said, no, actually, we're going to kind of challenge Superman, who actually is this guy who's trying to do good, and is the good he's doing necessarily actually good? Because if he does go stop a terrorist attack or something, well, now you're interfering with like countries, their borders, which is a classic Superman story in which, you know, at one point, I forget, I'm blanking on the comic arc. It might be, is it Kingdom Come maybe, where he decides to like give up being the American Superman to be the Superman for the world, is the story arc that it goes with, and that might be where we're ultimately heading with here. But like when they decide to kill the monster, and he's trying to save it at the same time, yeah, you're trying to save it and you're not trying to kill it, but how many other people are dying? So I thought that was like a cool way to kind of like give him his challenge in this movie.
Yeah, his current motto right now is truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. But it used to be a truth, justice, and the American way, right? They kind of moved away from that. And so, yeah, it's the choices that define him. And he's basically, I love that interview with Lois where he's like, people were going to die. At the end of the day, he was like, they were going to die. This man saves a squirrel if he needs to. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's willing to save squirrels. He's checking on everyone in Metropolis, making sure everyone's good. So if people are going to die, he's going to be there to stop that from happening. He's an ultimate good guy. And I just thought, yeah, it's all about those choices. And that Jonathan Kent scene, my God, dude, when he's talking to his father and he's giving him that little, very simple advice. Those people look like regular people, don't they? I mean, they just look like normal Kansas citizens, just farmers or whatever. I mean, I thought that was fantastic. So anyway, yeah, but I do like what you were saying about how they're taking Superman and they're trying to figure out like, how do you beat Superman? And you turn the public against him. You have all those like the monkeys that were in the Pocket Universe,
right?
That were, yeah, they were trying to spread
Trolling.
all the different hate. Yeah, and I didn't know the Peacemaker reference, you know, super shit or whatever. All the
hashtag, yeah,
that was hilarious.
By the way, real quick aside, there was a lot of swearing in this movie,
dude. I mean, swearing, and Lex kills a guy. Lex kills a guy.
I mean,
dude.
And I was just like,
DC hits, dude.
I know, and I was actually like, man, because it felt so much later in tone. The funny thing is actually like Batman vs Superman might be way more for kids than this movie, and that's like total dark, like way of doing it. But I was like, man, and so I was like, I don't know. I actually, it's, you know, I'm an adult and it doesn't affect me, but it's just like, man, I don't know, like kids are going to see this movie. Maybe it's also just that it's still a PG-13, so maybe it's just the generation we're in now, right?
Yeah, true.
But there's like no way in the 90s that like this movie could have been made with that. It would have been rated R with that many. Yeah. So it was, but it was just like, it was just something I hadn't really thought about, you know, because even Marvel doesn't have like that much swearing.
No. Yeah, and I get DC's always been a little bit more real, a more like darker, kind of like more serious in tone. And dude,
even in
this
their
really
lighthearted stuff.
even in their yes, exactly. And so even go watch the cartoons. Some of that stuff is like
Oh God,
intense, dude. Like holy shit, it's like wow. So yeah, they kept that. They kept the nature of all of that. They kept it very, very real, but it also feels the cinematography very bright, hopeful, optimistic, right? That's what James Gunn was sort of going for. The suit looks great, but yeah, it was the tone in terms of swearing and the violence. It was on another level.
By the way, I
Yeah,
loved the line that Lex had. By the way, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Whew,
so good,
phenomenal. So good.
so freaking good.
So good. So freaking good. He amazing Lex. I mean, I want to dive into we have to do 2 episodes. I don't know. There's so much to dive into.
Definitely.
It's insane. But yeah, I loved the line where he was I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was talking about like something about his suit being the thing that everybody's talking about because like his suit means hope and all this stuff. But really what it was it was kind of like an inside joke because the discourse online, as soon as they showed the suit, everyone is back and forth.
Right.
Should Superman have trunks or should Superman not have trunks? Where do you stand on it? As trunks or no trunks?
Trunks all the way, dude. I think it's his mom made that suit. I feel like it's just like it's corny, it's cheesy, but actually, when you look at the suits there, they kind of make them so that they're a little bit. It looks like they actually get pulled up over top the blue suit. I mean, it looks like a Captain Underpants situation or like a Quail Man situation. But I still think it's hilarious, and I think it's great because like they weren't seamless. You could actually kind of tell. There was they had some big conversations where James Gunn went back and he said, how do you do it? How do you pull off this type of suit? How do you go back and get like because I want to do the trunks, but I'm not sure how to pull it off, or he's gathering because it's a delicate thing to kind of bring to the big screen, and he did it perfectly. I think they look great. Personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, but, I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
You don't like them
on the trunks?
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, no, I mean, I think it totally depends on the universe that you're creating because I actually love the Man of Steel suit, even though it doesn't have, like trunks in that universe would not have worked whatsoever.
No. Would have looked silly. Yep.
It would have looked silly. And then of course the black suit, he didn't have trunks, but and then you have like the Brandon Ruth suit, where it did have the trunks and it was totally fine, but that suit, the cut, like it was more like brown. It wasn't red because they tried to. It was almost like they put a sepia filter over the whole thing, which I actually I love that movie and that might easily be the most underrated superhero movie ever. And Brandon Ruth might be is by far the most underrated Superman, if not the most underrated super. Like because that movie is phenomenal, and it's a shame it's a shame it never got a sequel. But like the trunks there look totally fine, and the trunks with Christopher Reeve look totally fine. And I haven't watched a lot of it, but the like Arrowverse Superman, and then Tyler, whatever, and then he did he got his own show, Superman and Lois. I think he kind of went back and forth. I think there's sometimes he had trunks and sometimes he didn't.
I think you might be right. Yeah. I think it does sort of set the tone, right? I mean, they're trying to blend a lightheartedness with some serious moments, and he's really found a balance in this movie. And I think the trunks are central to that conversation. Like, what type of tone to set for Superman and this universe that you're building? Because you're building this out and around from Superman, and having Guy as the Green Lantern as well, too. Sort of, it just fit. It felt like it was. I don't know. It's very relatable to some of the older nostalgic like comics and stuff. And it makes me kind of wonder if Batman ever does come into this universe, what that Batman will look like and what they're going to do suit wise there. Or, that's a whole other thing.
Well, James Gunn has said on Twitter that Batman will not have trunks. He said he just doesn't think it's going to work. I mean, he might, but he said, he's like, I don't know. Batman's a little bit different when it comes to.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I did hear. You're right. I did hear he said he wanted an opposite. He wanted Superman to be one way and Batman to be kind of like not opposite of him, but like in terms of the types of Superman and Batman they want to bring together to the screen. He wants them to be one more serious and one a little bit more lighthearted and stuff. And that's, I mean, hey, that's sick. I don't know what their plan is here, or how they're going to try to comb everything together. I think we will definitely talk about that as we continue our coverage of Superman in the DC universe, because it's literally freaking phenomenal, and it's back, baby. It's literally, God,
it's
so good.
Yeah. It's
anyways,
so good. So okay. So we'll talk a little bit about more about obviously about just like initial impressions and everything, and then dive into, man, where do we rank it? What do we think?
Yeah.
First of all, I will say I thought the movie was a little slow at first. I thought it definitely took just a little bit to kind of get into. Like, man, the apartment scene with him and Lois is actually pretty. Like, it was pretty long. I was like, this is kind of a long scene.
Long.
And it was actually quite dialogue heavy there at the beginning, which I think did like a really good job of setting it up. Like, I love that they also already jumped right into Lois and him dating, right? But it's still like new. At least that way we don't have to get past the like, go back to Superman and Lois, or Lois, the Adventures of Lois and Clark, on and on. They did touch on that a little bit. But I thought that was also very good. Rachel Brosnan, by the way, as Lois Lane, loved it.
Literally, the casting in this movie was perfection. I literally think, except for maybe Jarrell, but I'm just kidding. But like, outside of that,
I was shocked. I was like,
I know. What the heck was he doing? I was like, what? That's Jarrell? It was just sort of stunning or whatever. But he's friends, right? Any friends with James Gunn or something? So glad he was in there. But yeah, no, I think the casting was great. Lois was phenomenal. Even the guy who plays Jimmy Olsen, man, dude, they just tearing it up. I really loved all of the actors and everyone that they sort of brought to screen. It wasn't too much either. Like, it felt like I was like, oh man, is there gonna be a crap ton of like superheroes in this? Is it going to be too much or too heavy? Too many things going on, but they balanced it like really well, in my opinion.
What did you think of it ultimately end up being like Bizarro as the final villain?
Oh, dude. So yeah, like they were calling him Ultraman, right? Or whatever. So what's crazy about that is we know Superman can actually survive a black hole. So I'm not so sure that guy is gone, right? I mean, he gets sucked into the pocket universe. He is created by Lex with that DNA. That was so cool, because I'm sitting there going, how did he get into the Fortress of Solitude? Like, you cannot get into the Fortress of Solitude. Just walk up there, Lex, like no problem. And so that was our first clue that this is a clone of some degree. And then the only time I caught it when Cal is going so high, Superman is going so high into the air that he's got the, what are they called, like the nano
machines,
bots, where there are they're inside his lungs, everything. He goes so high that the only person who gets a warning, so Lex warns the engineer, you're the only one who can't survive the impact. And I was like, hold on a freaking second, what does he mean by that? And so I'm like, that other guy must be super powerful, and clearly he was. But we kind of get mixed up in the terms that we think he's in the suit, and it was the suit that made him powerful. No, this is just freaking a clone. Is this Bizarro? Is this what is this? How many clones does he have, Matt? How many clones does Lex have, and where are the secret clones of Superman? That's a huge thing I think people need to think about. There's, for example, Connor Kent is a character that people are saying down the line might come into this in terms of like Lex and Clark's DNA coming together and creating a Connor Kent, like a Connell, which would be insane.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of these characters have been done in so many different ways, and I mean, Marvel does it different too, but I think DC really does. I mean, it's almost like, man, there's so many different comic runs in which they introduce these characters, so like they all have like a million different origins, at this point, because it's like, okay, because I was watching it and people were pointing this out too. Ultraman, essentially, who is this clone Superman. Well, the suit he's wearing is the same suit that Doomsday wears in the comics, which is Death and Return of Superman, right? And so, I mean, it's like it's an homage to that. Before Doomsday, but then he breaks apart and he becomes the big monster and everything. And it's always so interesting to me see to me which comic arcs they pick when they're going to do these superhero movies, because a lot of times they pick the same ones, but they take different routes on it. Like actually the Dark Knight and the Batman are like both drawn heavily from the Batman Long Halloween comic graphic novel. They just like kind of take this arc, they try to take like, we're going to take like this half of the story, and they're like, we're going to take this half of the story, right? And that's why I'm still in the camp where I love Batman versus Superman, because it was a combination of like my 3 most favorite superhero stories, which is The Dark Knight Returns, which is my favorite Batman story, The Death and Return of Superman, which is my favorite Superman story, and then The World's Finest, which is like my favorite Batman superhero, like Batman Superman one, right? It's like, it was, so I was like, oh my God, I loved the way that they that they blended those stories together. And then, in Justice League, even though I love that movie, they said, hey, we're going to go into like towards injustice, where like that's the one where Superman goes evil. And it's like, okay, now it got like a little too dark, and I think a little way too much to handle if one person wasn't running the whole show, which was the problem. Like I think if Zack Snyder had actually just like, if Zack Snyder had like Kevin Feige level stuff over Warner Brothers, where they brought in different heads and all these different, like they bounced around so much, they didn't have any idea what they wanted to do. And so I think that's why the whole thing ultimately failed. But now you have James Gunn in charge, and actually they could do that. And they could actually, there's a lot of different routes they could go with that cloned Superman, like the Ultraman guy. Like they could, you can say, oh, remember they talked about, oh, your DNA will get like ripped apart if you are inside of that. Inside of that, so maybe that he could become Doomsday if they wanted to do a Doomsday route, since you can tie in that route. You could,
and like
do
you said, Bizarro. He could actually be Bizarro for sure.
He could be Bizarro. I hope not. So Bizarro is my hands down my least favorite Superman villain. Dude, by far my least favorite.
He does kind of suck, but I will say, like, I think, and I don't remember which run this was in the comic books, but he's almost turned into like kind of a friend of Superman's. Like he actually goes and takes like a Lois, right? And he goes to another planet or something, and he's like happy. And then when Clark needs him, he calls him back, and he's this big old brute that he brings in to kind of.
I know. It's just like we've already done it. Like they really did it in Smallville.
Oh god,
they really did. Although it wasn't even really like it was kind of like just evil Superman.
It was red kryptonite kind of thing, but it was.
And then Superman 3 did Bizarro, And even though I actually knew, but I kind of forgot that they were going to bring Metamorpho into this, with the guy who created the kryptonite arm. For a second, just because he was hanging out there, I was like, even though, because I try not to look at a lot of stuff for movies, like read every detail, because I want to go into it somewhat blind. Right. For a second there, I was like, dude, is that fucking Brainiac? Like,
oh my god!
But I will say, Brainiac 100% will work in this universe.
Yeah, I think so. Well, okay. Here's how. Because at the end of that, Lex Luthor is when we see him having that confrontation with Clark and Superman, he's almost becoming more human. He's getting a lecture on humanity, and it's the brains versus bronze, right? And so when Brainiac shows up, Superman there might come a day when the world needs Lex Luthor back. Right? Like that would be huge to bring Lex back on your side, which is something they've done in the comics. And he actually ends up becoming somewhat of a good guy down the line. But that would be really cool to see him come back and help Superman face Brainiac or something. That'd be freaking wild. So
I think Brainiac would actually be, for this universe, a very good first big bad, right? Like he can be your Thanos. I think like they were gonna, you look at Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they were gonna go dark side first. Like, bro, what? I mean,
no, dude, take the foot off the gas.
Dark side is like the final boss. I mean, like
that's Endgame, dude.
Marvel is just now getting to like Doctor Doom and Galactus. Right. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, like after that, it's like you're gonna have to reboot the whole thing or something. But
so are you ready for my theory, dude? I have this crazy theory. So like, the issue we have with Jor-El and his messaging is that Jor-El actually says to create like a harem and to sow your seed. And if the people of Earth are weak-minded, and if any of them oppose you, to like, essentially destroy them. And it's validated by Lex's team. They say it's authentic. The government says it's authentic. Mr. Terrific says it's authentic. But my theory It is not authentic. We know this. Jor-El would never, ever
Right.
say that. So who? The big question is, who would say that? And there's one person with the technology to corrupt that file. He's broken out of the Phantom Zone. It is General Zod.
Oh
In
god.
this movie, General Zod has already broken out of the Phantom Zone. He corrupted that file. What's the best way to get to Clark? Through his father, dude. And he wants to already, that is everything that Jor-El says is literally what General Zod wants. That's his whole mission. So if you're James Gunn and you wanted to set up something really kind of clever, you might have just left that like ambiguous, like,
And
again,
we had that black hole, and that black hole could have just ultimately led to the Phantom Zone. I was thinking about that a little bit.
yeah.
And
I mean,
maybe
who knows?
that Bizarro Superman goes there, and then he's the one who can help break them out.
Breaks them out or something, or
I guess
you
the
know.
question just comes down to, do we do General Zod again? Because we just
Well,
did it. We just really
right.
did it. Like, because Zod was like Zod ultimately was like the big bad of, but now if you look at it start to finish, or you finish with the Flash, I mean, he's there in Man of
Yeah.
Steel. They turn him into Doomsday, and then Zod comes back in the Flash, and he's the villain again. And
Right. And I think they should hold off on General Zod. I think they should,
sure.
you know how like in the first phase of Marvel, they sort of dropped little kind of hints as to maybe who a big bad would be down the line, where you might need multiple like Superman level individuals like Supergirl and other people to defeat Zod. Like you need to make it more realistic. So like I would be hinting at Zod for a long time. I would like really stretch that out if you're going to make him one of your big bads or something. But it is possible, and I think one of the first clues could have literally been the corruption of that Jor-El message. It's Kryptonian technology. He would know how to alter it, and I definitely think it's possible. So
yeah. So okay. So now let's talk a little bit about, and this will tie back into the movie. So we're still gonna be talking about what we thought about it and everything. Because so they're not calling it phase 1, they're calling it chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, right?
okay.
So actually the first thing was actually Creature Commandos, which is like a cartoon TV series, and then Superman. The next thing that takes place is Peacemaker season 2. And so that is where things are going to get really sort of interesting, because we already had Peacemaker season 1, and we had he was in the Suicide Squad. So is that still connected? Like did what the Flash do, what the Flash did at the end of that movie, like is some of that stuff actually going to carry over? Like, is it like we actually did Flashpoint, and maybe that's part of the reason? Because in Peacemaker season 1, his dad, I know you haven't seen it, his dad creates a pocket universe that he stores all of his weapons and stuff in. And so maybe that's what they're going to do, and maybe he gets sucked into that, and then that would at least carry over that stuff. Because in Peacemaker season 1, at the end of it, he runs into the DCEU Justice League. He runs, Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa are there as cameos at the end of the whole deal. And James Gunn, I believe, there's a lot of mixed rumors about it, but James Gunn asked like Henry Cavill and some of these other people to show up, and they said no. So it's like you see the silhouettes of Superman, Wonder Woman, and like Cyborg. And so then we got Black Adam, and then the whole thing fell apart, and they rebooted the entire universe and stuff like that. So at least in this universe, we already know that Jason Momoa is going to be in it, but he's going to be in it as Lobo, as a villain of Supergirl.
Yeah.
So, and I doubt that anybody is ever going to work with Ezra Miller again. So there's no way he's going to be the Flash of this universe. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah. Because I've been wondering, like, are they going to do like an Earth Prime, an Earth 1, Earth 2? Are they going to have things like that to where they could bring in another, if they need to recruit a Superman or something, or another superhero?
I hope they just, I think he's just gonna, I don't know. I think
just build out from here.
Just build out from Superman, and then maybe tie in Peacemaker, so that way you can use him if you want. But if you look at, because then you also have the Batman going on, right? And but it's just its own thing. And now everyone's like, I don't know, man. maybe Robert Pattinson could be, but he can't be based on the Batman movie that they're going with. So the upcoming slate is, we know we're getting Superman, we're getting Peacemaker, we're getting Supergirl, we're getting a Clayface. I can't remember if this is actually going to be like a movie, or if it's going to be it is going to be a movie. It's going to be a Clayface movie, which is just going to be, I think it's going to be weird and interesting, but it's also like possibly going to show Batman. I mean, it's like, you're doing a villain film. That's kind of interesting. And then they're doing Batman the Brave and the Bold is the Batman movie that they're doing. And that is like way down the line Batman. I mean, we're talking like, it's not like year 2 Batman, like Robert Pattinson, or like year 4 Batman. I mean, it's like year 10, year 15. I mean, it's like, because in that one, that is Batman when he's already on his 4th Robin, who is his son, Damian Wayne. I mean, you're talking like, that's like way down the line Batman. So we're not getting like we're not getting, I mean, you're getting like way down the line Batman.
Wow, dude. That makes me rethink everything, because I wasn't sure what where they were going, because I was starting to think, maybe that Batman stuff that they're doing, the Penguin series, is tied into Robert Pattinson's,
I mean,
his universe.
in theory it could, but I feel like they're already working on it. So if they haven't cast anybody, there's a lot of rumors.
Unless they did. As who could be? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think they're just going to let the Batman be I think they're just going to let the Batman be a trilogy. But Robert Pattinson would have to, because that movie would likely come out before the Batman Part 3.
Okay. Yeah. Man. See, I want this to be like Marvel level, where they are, because you got to give it to Marvel. Like they really mapped stuff out, and it was kind of overkill. We don't need as much,
Right.
but we need some interconnectedness. We need the chapters, if you will. Then chapter this, chapter that. I want to know there's a plan. I want to be driving towards the same set of characters. I love when Superman shows up for 1 second in somebody else's movie or whatever. I think that stuff is really cool, and people are going to look for those moments, and it makes you want to go see some of these lesser known superheroes and stuff.
Now you finally want to go watch Peacemaker.
Yeah, finally want to go see it. He was in with Superman. He's over there.
It's phenomenal. I mean,
he's talking shit about Superman.
I am dead serious when I say this. Peacemaker, I think season 1 is the best single season superhero show ever. It is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, like, if I stack it up to the Marvel stuff, and there's stuff in the Marvel stuff, I really liked WandaVision. I mean, Loki is amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of liked Miss Marvel. A lot of people didn't, but I actually kind of liked it. Moon Knight was fun.
Yeah.
But I think Peacemaker blows it all to shreds.
That's
it's hard to compare it to like CW stuff, because it's like that stuff's like lower tier. Not that Arrow season 1 wasn't great.
No, yeah, those were phenomenal actually for being CW shows. But no, to hear that compared on similar sort of platforms or similar sort of budgets and stuff like that, that is really hopeful, because
it's so good. You will
love it. It's really cute. I told my wife, I was like, this is queued up. We got this, we got this, we got this. I was like, we're back into Superman stuff. Like, here we go. Because let's be honest, it was for a while a mess. No one knew where stuff was going, who's running it, who's the head of this.
Right.
Like,
The Rock was supposed to be in charge at some point. Like,
what the heck, dude?
I know.
Like, that's crazy. And so we need someone like the Kevin Feige level type guy. I hope James Gunn has just like
James Gunn and Peter Safran are the heads of DC.
Okay.
He's the full.
That's it.
Yeah.
That actually gives me hope. Then it lets me know, okay, you're the boss. You're in, like, if this doesn't go right, it falls to your feet, and then he's responsible. That he wants then to have a say, and he wants to be able to navigate and orchestrate this universe, because it's going to fall at his feet. He will be responsible for it, and that's what you need, is somebody to hold accountable. And I feel like this is a great and awesome opener for him, and it is set up with tons of hope and tons of potential. And that's what I think going into it, we were like wondering, like, I'm wondering, what is this reset going to look like? And this is it? Like, this is the reset. Right. How's it going to comb backwards? Now I'm realizing he's thought through combing back and using things that are already there, like with Peacemaker and stuff like that, and saying, no, this is a part of it. This is a part of it. And he's organizing that and moving us forward. So,
well, and I mean, if you want to get technical about it, technically speaking, DC has done multiverse stuff way before Marvel did.
Oh, Yeah.
because they brought Ezra Miller into Crisis on Infinite Earths, like the
Yeah.
Arrowverse, right? If you also want to call it, which was the Arrow, the Flash, Supergirl, Superman, right? And then Legends of Tomorrow, or whatever it is, DC, or whatever it is. It's the one that Brandon Ruth is in,
Brandon Ruth's in it.
Right, Brandon Ruth is in it. And I think what's his name's in it too? Smallville Superman.
Tom Welling?
Tom Welling, I think, was in it a little bit.
I mean,
but then they ultimately tied it all in, and they did a Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is a little bit different than Flashpoint.
You're right.
But it is a multiverse thing. And I remember Ezra Miller showed up. He did a cameo. He did a cameo. So that DCU was already brought in, and they went and did everything. I mean, they went and got like Burt Ward, who was he was a cameo in there, and he was Robin in the 1960s Batman.
Yeah.
And then in the Flash movie, technically, I mean, you see all the clips of all the, I mean, they did even spin-offs that never even happened. Nicolas Cage was in there, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is his
He's
Superman,
just hovering
right?
there as Superman. Yeah.
So, I mean, that stuff's, it's already technically somewhat connected. So if you did ever want to bring somebody in or do something like they did in Marvel, where they did like the Spider-Man movie, and you say, hey, now we can just pull those people in, and you already know kind of their lineage. Deadpool did that, where they brought Chris Evans back, and he wasn't Captain America. He was the Human Torch, because that's who he played originally, you know?
Right.
I mean, you could do that. I mean, God, everyone for years has actually been saying, you know, who would be a really good Flash instead of Ezra Miller? What's his name? Grant, the guy from the TV show. I didn't really watch Flash.
That was a good one. Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin. Yeah.
Played Barry Allen in the
Flash.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. He was great. He was great. He definitely could have been like a movie level Flash. And I think, dude, you're so right, because look at what the Spider-Man movie did. Like, when they get on screen together, they start to kind of talk about their different traumas, some of their, how they're different. It sort of distinguishes them or whatever. So you have different things that are part of their backstory and a part of their films and whatever. And like, what happened to your Mary Jane? What happened to my Mary Jane? And all this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, it was great.
So it's so funny. And so you could do the same sort of thing with some of these other actors and bring back some old, you know, was it the Flash or gosh, I don't even know who else. Like, some of the stuff from Smallville would be phenomenal, dude. I mean, if Tom Welling ever shows up on a freaking big screen, I'm gonna lose my mind. I will say I did think his send off in Crisis on Infinite Earths was pretty great. Yeah. And him and Erica
Durance.
Yeah,
it was great. It
was so good.
Okay. So let's dive back in. Let's dive back into the Superman movie and talk some comparisons here.
Okay.
I don't even, and everyone online is of course making the distinctions between the two. I don't even think you could compare Man of Steel and this movie, because they're just totally different. Like, they're just like, I love them both. Like, I love Man of Steel. I think it's a great movie. I love the darker side of it, and there's things about that I like more than this. There's things that I like more than this. Like, they're really aimed at two like very different audiences. I don't know that I can distinctively say one is better than the other, although we're going to rank our movie. We're going to try to do a soft ranking here. We'll make that decision, of course.
Right.
But I mean, you're the Superman guy. I mean, where are you at with him now in terms of like where you think?
Well, so okay, this is the reason that this right now, proximity to this just coming out of the theater, obviously there's some of that sort of weighing on me, because right now I have not walked out of a theater and loved Superman more than I do right now. And that is the truth. That is the absolute freaking truth. So it's like, I feel like there's a plan. That's the other thing too with this. I feel like there's a plan moving forward. So I'm kind of like, okay, I'm thinking this Superman is better, but movie to movie, like you said, they're so different. I feel like some of because again, that story with Man of Steel has an origin story. There's a freaking sick Jonathan Kent moment and death scene, dude. Like, what the?
That's like my favorite part of Batman versus Superman is the John. Yeah. Oh, so good. It's like with the floodplain. Like,
dude, it's so freaking good. I mean, the
hero cake.
Oh, Jesus. It's so good. So they're, again, very difficult to compare. I want to think that they live in the same universes we just talked about, and that we're going to see Cavill and what's this guy's name? David Cornsweat. Yeah, man, so good. But I would have to say, honestly, right now, I think this is better. And I did not think I was going to say that. I'm telling you right now, I went into this movie with high expectations like you did. And I was kind of like, I don't know, man. I'm hearing a lot of different stuff. I feel like they treated Henry Cavill kind of bad. I was like, I don't know. Blew my socks off. I was
Okay.
so I think it's better than Man of Steel. And it definitely, because it has touches where it hits on, like, there's a few Christopher Reeve moments in there where I was like, oh my god, Christopher.
All right, so let's do our ranking. Let's do our
Okay.
soft ranking. So I think there's technically 7 movies. You've got Superman 1 through 4. We will not count the Donner cut. So we'll just say Superman 1 through 4, Returns, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and this. So is that 8? Maybe,
yeah. So, oh man, okay. So, I mean, at the top is still going to
start at the bottom. We'll go
bottom
to top. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. Give them all to me again. What do we got? I'm going to write these down here.
Okay. So you would have Superman 1 through 4, and then you would have Returns, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and this Superman 2025.
Okay. Man of Steel. And then Batman versus Superman. Okay.
And Superman, the new one, 2025.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So how many is that? 8?
Is that 8? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's 8, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Let's see. I would at the bottom for me then. Well, okay. If we get to rank all those Superman 1 through 4 is a little differently.
Right.
Okay. So 2 of those immediately go to the bottom, which sucks because I actually love number 4 with the Radiation Man or whatever the guy.
Wait, you would have 4. What is it? The Quest for Tomorrow or Quest for Peace or something, right? What you would have that above? I see. I don't like 3, and a lot of people do like 3.
Oh,
wait, the one with Richard. The one with 3 is the one with Richard Pryor, and that's the one where
No, you're right. No, you're right.
With kind of like Bizarro. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Good call. So I would have Superman 3 at the bottom, followed by Superman 4. Okay. And then to work up from there, then it's probably going to be, this is going to suck, but Batman versus Superman.
Really?
Yeah. And then you've got Superman 2, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty solid. I just love. I actually like the Richard Donner cut, but we're not going to include that. And then after that, Man of Steel, and then you've got Superman 2025, and then Superman 1,
and Superman Returns.
Oh, forgot. Oh,
I was like, "Oh, you're skipping Superman Returns."
Where do I throw? Oh, hold on a second. That would probably be between. That is better than that for me. That's better than Batman versus Superman. Superman Returns, super underrated. So yeah, like I would put that above Batman versus Superman. So yeah. You give me yours. I'm gonna write that down again so I can.
Okay, I'm gonna go 8. So I think it's 8 total spots here. I'm gonna go 8th place Superman 3. It's just they do a Bizarro, and I just hate Bizarro, so it's immediately although it was kind of funny. Like that was a little more comical because Richard Pryor's in it. Remember he finds the little like extra piece, and they make fun of that in other movies. Office Space makes fun of that movie. They're like, oh, it's like Superman 3, right? And then he drives to work in like a Lamborghini or something. It's so ridiculous. So I would go Superman 3, Superman 4, Superman 2. Is by far I think my jump there. And then man, I know it's really, really good and everybody loves it, and it's like the grandfather of all these superhero movies, but I gotta go Superman 1. I think I'm literally going all the Christopher Reeve movies. I'm saying that because I actually hold that movie in very high regard. And so I hold all these other movies in also very high regard in my own personal space. Actually, you know what?
Yeah. You changing it?
I'm gonna go Man of Steel, then Superman 1.
Man of Steel, then Superman 1. Okay.
Yeah, because it's just because I'm more of a Batman guy, and I prefer Batman versus Superman more. So, but then I will go Superman Returns, Batman versus Superman, and then this.
Okay.
See, I'm the
Okay.
opposite. I love Batman vs Superman, not only because it's as a Batman movie. I also actually think it is a very good Superman movie.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's not bad at all.
I push back on everybody who makes fun of the Martha scene and everything. And I don't freaking care. I love that Superman sacrifices himself to take down Doomsday, holding the kryptonite spear. Um, God, and I love some of those moments in Zack Snyder's Justice League too. But that's a
Right.
Justice League movie, not really a Superman movie. But man, I don't know. I think that movie, there's a lot of good in it, man, where he even I love the scenes between him, even though I don't particularly like Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Where she's scared. I love when when she's scared, he gets in the tub with her, they're just fully clothed, of course, just
Right.
hops, that's just Superman, right? He doesn't care. He just gets in there. There's a lot of those small little moments when he's there and the building explodes.
Oh yeah, dude.
But he's trying to save everyone and he's trying to do everything. I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Just again, these are all top. I mean, besides Superman 3 and 4, these are all really top,
Right.
notch.
The returns you and I have said on the record is extreme. I think Superman Returns easily is, I think, the most underrated superhero movie ever.
It gives me chills.
No question, because it kind of goes in its own direction. Technically it takes place after Superman 2, and Kevin Spacey.
I forgot about that.
Kevin Spacey, I know he's been written off by Hollywood, but amazing Lex Luthor. He's such a good Gene Hackman style Lex Luthor. They were gonna go into the Superboy route thing, and then the whole thing blew up and that's what kind of screwed up even Man of Steel, because it was all right, well, they did Superman Returns and they had Batman Begins, and the plan was, let's get those two together, and then they never made another Superman movie with Brandon Routh, because it was the most expensive movie and ever made, right? When it came out, it was the most expensive movie ever made. And then it was all right, we're doing Man of Steel, but I think The Dark Knight Rises came out after that, but so it wasn't part of it. It was still its own thing, right? Or maybe it did, or maybe Dark Knight Rises when did I have to look at when those came out, but they came out pretty close. That it was maybe you should have paid Christian Bale more to do it. But now even though now we already know the Batman has nothing to do with this stuff, and so it's they're already going to do a new Batman, so it does, the path forward does still feel better.
Right, true, it does. And I gotta say, but real quick, just because you're making me recall this stuff from Superman Returns, and it's just dude, I forgot he returns. Okay, that's the whole point. It is set after 2, where he gets a message. Zod shows up in 2, and he has this okay, there are Kryptonians out there, Phantom Zone, maybe more of them survived. He goes to check.
He literally lifts up a kryptonite continent. That might be the most powerful Superman we've ever seen. Yeah. By the way, he straight up lifts up a kryptonite continent.
Oh my god, dude! And when he takes Lois
and all
way
this
up
stuff
in the
with
sky,
all the stuff with the kid too, his kid. And
he's
playing piano. Yeah,
he didn't know, dude. Oh my god,
good. It's such an underrated movie.
Yeah, so let me just quickly say again, because I want to make sure I got them wrote down, because I had trouble kind of holding them on my head here. But yeah, Superman 3 for me, Superman 4, Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, Superman 2, and then Superman Returns, Man of Steel, Superman 1, Superman 2025. Yeah, that's probably where I have them right now.
So 2025, I would have as my number 1. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, maybe that'll change as thing, but I don't know. I mean, it's so cool.
So now let's talk about Superman actors. What's your, and we can include Tom Welling and include, I don't know the other guys, Tyler Hocken or whatever it is. I haven't really seen that stuff, so I don't know. I will say I did see him at a Comic-Con once, and literally nobody was in line for him, and I felt really bad for him.
Oh, dude, what? It
was in Portland, and it's the same with that Supergirl. The Supergirl, nobody was in her line,
dude.
And because they were doing some Buffy reunion too at the same one, and everyone was there. It's Portland. Everyone was there to do the
yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully those actors get a chance. If they ever do some sort of this again, multiverse sort of Earth Prime, Other Earths, I hope those characters get a chance to step in and do stuff. But yeah, number one. So, oh God, because you've got like George Reeves, you've got Brandon Ruth. Now you've got Nicolas Cage, where you're that one little spot, little thing. You've got Dean Cain. Don't forget him. Holy smokes. Tom Welling, Christopher Reeve, Henry Cavill, David Cornsweet, and then Tyler
Hoechlin, I think is his
Hoechlin.
name.
Yeah, Tyler
but I will
Hoechlin.
say every clip I've ever seen of him as Superman, he seems sweet.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, I watched the first few episodes. Now that's on my list.
The lowest in that movie seems like terrible. Every time I see clips, I don't.
Oh, really?
Buy it. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah,
I haven't seen enough to be fair, but every time I see clips of her, I'm just like, I don't know.
Dude, did Channing Tatum play Superman in a Lego movie? Because they have him listed here as like in the Lego movie. That's hilarious.
Well, in Lego, like Lego Batman is like Will Arnett.
Oh God, it's actually awesome. But yeah, okay. For me, we're starting bottom again.
Yeah, we can go bottom, or you can just do top 5 or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's go our top 5, and we'll start at the bottom. So number 5, for me, God, dude. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. God, it's so that sucks. No, okay, never mind. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta leave somebody out. Because my top 6 would have been, I would have started with Dean Cain, but I mean, sorry, Dean, he's not gonna make the list.
Right, and we don't have to include George. We don't have to include George Reeve.
Yeah, right. It's just, I mean, I like Adventures of Lois and Clark was freaking great, and Dean Cain's actually on the internet. Actually, he had one criticism about this movie. So what the heck? I don't know. Get him out of here. So okay, I guess at number 5 then for me would be, it's gonna be. Man, this is tough. We're talking Superman. This is also, it's two different things too. Sometimes you say it's Superman or who played Clark Kent better, right? Because they play these different almost characters. I would say, dude, I would actually say Brandon Ruth is at 5, then Henry Cavill. This is nuts, and then David Cornsweet, then Tom Welling, then Christopher Reeve. That's very my list.
I think that's correct. I think
you think that's correct. Yeah.
I mean, no, Tom Welling is number 2. I mean, it's not. I mean, and as great as God, I'm blanking on his name now.
Michael Rosenbaum.
As great as Nicholas Hoult is, Michael Rosenbaum is the best Lex Luthor. Like,
dude.
no question whatsoever.
No question.
Like, he is the best Lex. Period.
Yeah. Now, did we grow up on that for 10 years watching it and loving it? Absolutely freaking did. But it's also the truth. He is literally the best. They are the best dynamic. And I was explaining to my wife too, like Lex Luthor, the dynamic between Lex and Clark and stuff. I'm like, we gotta watch Smallville because they're friends. They start off as daggone friends, man. It's so freaking cool. But yeah, again, Tom Welling's number 2. And if James Gunn is smart, if there is a way, I mean, people would lose. The internet would break. It would break because there is this following for Smallville that is so intense. It's so passionate.
That's what he said he loved. If you actually, so I just watched a clip today where they said, well, why isn't it LexCorp and why is it Luthor Corp in this movie? He said, because I like Smallville. He's like, and he said, well, if you call it Luthor Corp, then it could be his parents could have ever been involved like that. And I think a lot of that showed is that he James Gunn has said he really liked Smallville.
Dang, dude.
And even David Cornsweet is like, they asked him, he's like, I like Smallville.
Right. Well, Nicholas Hoult sat down with Michael Rosenbaum and did like an interview, and they talked about
he interviews interviews like everyone who's ever worked with DC. It's great.
He has a great podcast. So but yeah, man, I think that list is nailed then. I mean, Tom Welling number 2. And
I will say Brandon Ruth did get some reprieve in the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff. Yeah, where he got to wear like the Kingdom Come Superman outfit. Have you ever seen that? Look that up.
Oh my God, what?
It's like the best Superman suit ever.
Yeah, I need to go watch this.
Yeah, it was kind of like the end of because he finally got some redemption. Here, let me pull this up here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, holy smokes, it looks good. Wow, dude. Yeah, I need to go watch.
Wrong one.
I need to go watch all of that.
Well, if you're looking at it, yeah, I mean, it's freaking phenomenal. I mean, that might be the best Superman suit ever.
Yeah, no, for sure it is. That is actually really, It's got the black in there. It's just looking. Oh, it's looking tight.
I mean, for me, the best Superman suit ever is actually probably the
which one?
Zack Snyder's Justice League Black.
Oh, dude, it's
so good.
When he goes black, it's sort of like, what's going on?
I know when we got the black, that was the thing. That's another reason I love that stuff, because we got black suit Superman.
Yeah, so come on,
because you and I grew up in the 90s. You and I grew up in the 90s. That was like the biggest deal, the death and return of Superman. Like,
yeah, dude.
It was and he had like the mullet. Oh, it's great in those comics. Yeah, it was freaking sick.
God, I know. But, I know. Man, I just have to say again, I cannot say it enough. And I want to do like another episode where we go and we break down even more about like, because I need to go back and refresh myself on the different arcs of the comics that are out there. Because there's actually like James Gunn is pulling different things from different places, and it's all, but it feels really cohesive. Like he's inspired by different runs of the comic book series, and so it's just really cool to see those things showing up on film. And him building out this world. I think it is such a freaking hopeful day. I have literally been messaging people. I've never done like groundwork on the ground trying to get people to go watch a movie, but here I am out here trying to get people to go watch this daggone movie because it's that freaking good.
We also, I mean, did we get the most peak moment ever when all the Lexbots shows up and he's just like spinning around, lasering them all? That was like, I was like, and they also, by the way, I love the Man of Steel theme, right?
Yeah,
I think it's like just the soft little piano. Don't get me wrong, I freaking love it. It worked well. It worked very well for that universe.
Yeah.
But there were some like aura farming moments in this movie, dude, where he is just, I mean, like where they just zoom. And I loved actually that he did that a lot. It was all these like zoomed out shots of Superman, right? Where he's like, and you can and it's just like, it felt epic. It felt epic, like straight up epic. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool. And the cool thing is we know this is just a fraction of what he can do with this superhero. That's the thing, dude. This is just a fraction. Like you only saw a glimpse. Like Lex already has a pocket universe going on. Like these guys have tools at their disposal. This is going to get huge.
Do you think this is James Gunn's best superhero movie?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm biased. I definitely think it is, but because I'm seeing all this stuff. I mean, he's like the reviews. It's certified fresh. It's everyone else is
And I mean this in the highest regard. I think it's right there with Guardians, because I think Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is like an amazing,
it's really
I probably would have it in my top 10 Marvel movies. And there's a lot at this point, but I think Guardians 1 is that good, and I think this Superman movie is that good.
Right, and that's a really good way to say it, because like someone like me goes into that not really knowing much about the Guardians and then going, this is a sick movie. This is
and now James Gunn has like the most recognizable superhero.
Exactly. So now he just did this with like a character, like people who don't know anything about this. Oh, there's a new Superman movie. Some guy who's I don't know how old and just wants to go check it out with his family. He's going to it and he's blown away. Right? Okay, what's been going on? You start to then wonder like what's coming next and everything. So yeah, if he could do that with Superman, if he did that with the Guardians of the Galaxy, this should be not a cakewalk, because DC is a different sort of it's a whole different universe that he has to navigate. But I mean, he's in. You can tell he's inspired. Right. He's doing the legwork in terms of like talking to people about the suit, the costume, as we started with, like the trunks, no trunks. What are you going to do? He's looking at inspirations from different comic book runs and different things. So he's making this interconnected. So he's nailing it. He's absolutely nailing it. And I just so happy.
Because he had Guardians of the Galaxy, who, and then he got Suicide Squad. And, other than Harley Quinn, I mean, a lot of those characters weren't really like the big, well-known superheroes. Then the Peacemaker season 1. I mean, he took, some of these characters who, I mean, Peacemaker and Vigilante, dude, I'm telling you, when you watch it,
I know, I'm probably gonna lose my mind.
Have you seen the Suicide Squad movie though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. What did you think of that? Did you like that or no?
Oh yeah, for sure I did. Yeah, and I think
not the first one. There's Suicide Squad, and then there's the Suicide
Squad. Yeah. And I think so. It's like, to me, that's again, you're bringing together, like I would say for the general audience, like lesser known, kind of individuals, and it felt really good. It felt really epic, and so, I guess, and that's a part of this, right? That's now a part of.
Maybe we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know because
I
the
think it'd be
Peacemaker,
sick if it is.
we don't, because essentially the way the
Because you have
time,
Rick Flag Sr. in
right,
this movie.
right.
So
The way the timeline works is all the stuff happens
mhm,
in the like Man of Steel and all that stuff, which includes Suicide Squad and Peacemaker season 1. And then the Flash movie happens and essentially does Flashpoint,
right.
right? And resets a bunch of everything. Because I remember at the end of that, he goes and he sees George Clooney's Batman.
Right. Right.
So that Flash is in a totally different universe now, and all the universes got combined, and whatever. So we
Right.
don't know. So we don't know if it's like if we're in it's definitely some sort of alternate universe because we have a different Superman.
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
don't know if that Peacemaker is the same. But it's going to be really. I'm really. I think that's the other advantage he has too, is that Peacemaker season 2 is coming out after this, so he can like explain a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff in Peacemaker season 2,
Yeah.
because what about that big cameo at the end? And he's like, well, you have to wait and see. Like the,
Okay.
the Justice League, the DCEU Justice League cameo at the end of Peacemaker season 1, he's like, you'll kind of have to
Wow.
you'll kind of have to see, how we're going to do that. So I think what ultimately is going to happen is, because his dad already sort of makes like a pocket dimension universe type
Mhm.
thing where he keeps all of his weapons and stuff, and that's what they kind of talked about here. Hey, we have a little pocket dimension Lex has, right, that they go into,
Right.
and that's where he stores stuff. So what's to say that he doesn't actually get sucked into a different
Mhm,
universe? And I
mhm.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's like you said, yeah, if he has more opportunities to kind of explain this through some TV shows and different things, that's what people want. We want that same sort of like Marvel feel where we have to watch this movie, it's connected to this, there's some storytelling here. You can watch them independently for sure, but if you're really trying to get the story and predict what's coming next, who's coming, who's the big villain, where are these characters going to cross and in a line and come together, that's what we want as super fans. You really want to be invested in every single show that comes out, every single movie. We need to go because we have to stay abreast on this kind of stuff. Like if you're making this stuff, that's what you want. You want us at the table asking for more, looking for Easter eggs, digging into it. And we are now. This is the first time where I've been in the DC universe going like, okay, I need to do my research, get sort of like fresh on everything and get ready to go because they're about to start feeding me an epic Superman centered kind of like, universe here where when they bring Batman in too, like if they're going, I don't know if they're, this just money, Matt. It's just freaking
All right.
money. Like,
Yeah. So right now it seems like the mega fan casting is for Batman is, I've heard everything from Glenn Powell, who I think could be great as that. Actually, in all honesty, who really would be like would have been like the best for this Batman, is like back in the day, George Clooney. Like George Clooney's
oh, sure.
Batman. I mean, of course, he had a terrible script, but I think like
Yeah.
because it's like Brave and the Bold Batman is like he's already established. He's like well into his career,
Yeah.
and it's him and his son Damian Wayne who becomes Robin. And actually, if you want to find a really good story arc of it, I would watch. I have to look it up. It's part of the DC animated extended universe. So
Mhm.
there's actually 2 like DC animated universes as well. There's
Right.
the one that starts with the Batman animated series, and it goes Batman animated series into the Superman animated series, which then goes into Justice League Unlimited, and Batman Beyond. And there's a couple movies in there as well, like World's Finest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then around the same time, they started a movie universe, the DC animated universe, which is like the Flashpoint movie, and it continues. And there is a Batman movie in there with Robin, and it goes into the Court of Owls, which was the big run during that decade, the New 52 run, which is Batman Court of Owls is like top 5 Batman comic, like graphic novels. It's utterly amazing. It is so good. The rest of New 52, not so much, but that run particularly is like peak Batman art.
Okay.
But you get a lot of that story, and you get to see Brave and the Bold stuff, a little bit of it in there as well, where you see, so Damian Wayne, right, is Talia al Ghul and Batman have a son. and she keeps him hidden. So he trains with the League of League of Shadow and Assassins and Ra's al Ghul. And so then their like village or whatever gets attacked, and so Talia al Ghul brings him to be with Batman, and so Batman has to raise him. So he's basically like grown up under Ra's al Ghul, and he's now trying to teach me. He's like, no, we don't kill people, right? We don't do this. We don't. Damian Wayne is like, he's just so good, and he's become like
that's cool.
Top 3 DC characters for me because he's so
okay.
Best Robin by far, better than Dick Grayson, not even close.
Yeah.
And so that's like the Batman you're going with. Like you're going with that Batman, and like him having a son for the first time. But a lot of the big fan casting, and he's even petitioned, he said I would do it for free, is Alan Ritchson, who is Reacher.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
And he's actually been very involved in DC, and DC is very much like Star Wars, where they love to bring people back in, because he was in the show Titans.
Yeah.
And he was also in Smallville. He was Aquaman.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Wow. That would be cool. Holy smokes.
And he's freaking, and he's becoming a megastar now. Yeah.
Huge Batman. God dang. That would be awesome. And actually, if he's gonna play that like the Brave and the Bold Batman, like you're saying, older, you know what I mean? He's got some age on him, and so that would be a really good fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, by that Batman, like the Brave and the Bold comic arc, there's also a Batman the Brave and the Bold like cartoon, like animated series. But it's like kind of its own, it's kind of its different own thing. Yeah, totally different. It's like very cartoony. I mean, it's like very like over the top cartoony, but you're still talking about a Batman series, like where you jump into this Batman, you think the Superman has been Superman for a while. I mean, this Batman, it's like we get the full Bat family. I mean, this isn't like,
oh jeez,
I mean, it's like Batgirl. At this point, you're on your 4th Robin, so you've got Dick Grayson's already Nightwing. I mean, you're talking, he's already Nightwing. Jason Todd, the second one, is already Red Hood. Third one is Red Robin. I mean, you're like well into.
Let's go. That would, man. I don't know. See, I like that, because when you start something new and you do this sort of reset, it's like they always want to start back at like super origins and everything. Get us in there, get us right in there, because we've seen all those origin stories for years. Everybody starts with this and this and this, and they bring, like, just jump us in to these universes and do some stuff. Text on the screen. All we needed to start this episode. Text on the screen. Tell us what's been going on with metahumans. Tell us what's happening in Metropolis. Superman, when did he come out? You just get faces first defeat. Whatever. It's freaking awesome. So I hope that you're right. I hope that this is, where did they announce all that stuff, by the way? Like is this like, does James Gunn have like, is there like a page that tells like where I need to go do some research? This is where I'm like sitting over here wanting to do all the research right now and try to figure out what is.
Yeah, I mean, if you just type in like DCU, what their plan is, like DCU chapter 1, and then if they're gonna do a Clayface movie, I mean, that's like, I don't even know what that's gonna be. Yeah, the Brave and the Bold. I mean, anything they've said, it's a story about Batman as actual son Damian Wayne, Grant Morrison, who's like one of the best Batman authors. Yeah, I mean, man, it's just like, wow, I can't believe that is the one they're starting with. So it's going to have Batman and it's going to have a Damian Wayne already in it. So you're well into the Bat family. And I do think doing Batman first, but man, it's kind of interesting, when you look at everything that's announced, and we don't know that this is all chapter 1, but you look at the characters who are not announced. So this is like everybody who's announced, right? So we know Supergirl's next. I mean, Peacemaker, but they're doing a Clayface movie. That just seems like something fun to do. Batman Brave and the Bold, The Authority, Swamp Thing, and we know there's supposed to be a Wonder Woman movie coming, but we don't know who's going to be playing Wonder Woman. But no Flash, no Aquaman yet. Right. I mean, unless they're going to be introduced into it. They want to do Blue Beetle again, Booster Gold. I mean, you're talking about a lot of I think Crypto's getting his own show.
What?
Nah, it's gonna be some sort of like, it's like a upcoming web series or something. Down.
That's actually awesome. Oh my gosh. Man, dude. Okay, this and yeah, now I'm seeing it. I see where they're laying all this out.
Yeah.
Freaking sick.
And then we know we're getting a Waller show and stuff like that. So it's
Well,
gonna, yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see who they ultimately end up going with.
y-
I mean, like,
yeah,
Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she was great when
right.
she wasn't
Absolutely.
talking a lot, but God, Wonder Woman 2 is awful. I mean, it is 1984. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah, it
terrible.
was nah, right. No, agreed. And that, yeah. I mean, yeah, and she's great. Like she's great when she shows up in other things, right? Justice League and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But dude, one of the things, Supergirl being that whole reference to her being off planet,
Mhm.
I've heard that this might be a like her role might be sort of this, I don't know, like that she might be traveling off planet. We might get some sort of intergalactic sort of stuff going on or something. I don't know. Like it's off world stuff because she does that. Like they made that reference with the red sun, right? Visiting a planet with a
Mhm.
red sun. And so have they
Just like
said,
getting drunk.
yeah, getting drunk, right? Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so I gotta
And
look up
that
her storyline. Yeah.
yeah, and that I have the graphic novel. Let me grab it here 1 second here.
Yeah, because I mean, Kara Zor-El, dude, let's freaking go, man. And she, I'm,
Do I?
yeah,
I don't think I did.
pumped.
Oh, I mean, yes, I did.
Okay, let's see.
Let me
Supergirl.
grab the graphic novels here. Pull out the
Yeah, pull them out, pull them out.
I gotta pull up the big one because one of them's an omnibus, so it's like a freaking okay. So this Superman story right here. This is Superman All-Star Superman. This is basically like what this was totally framed off of, this Superman movie.
Okay,
So if you're like, hey, I want to like, what should I read, or which comic should I read in order to get into this Superman movie? This is like the one you should read. The
nice.
Supergirl movie, they've already said is going to be totally based off of this, which is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And it
Yeah,
is a fantastic graphic novel. It just has this such a cool, unique art style. There's a particular shot of it. Like, it's just such like
mm-hmm.
a
Yeah,
cool, interesting art style. So I highly recommend that.
yeah.
And then, yeah, Grant Morrison is the one who they're pulling this off of. And I think this is actually part of this. Let me see here. Grant. This is the omnibus here. So it's like the big mega one. Is Damian Wayne in this one? Or is that, I can't remember if it's the second omnibus, like the second part of the story. It might be part two, but yeah, Brave and the Bold. It's Grant Morrison. It's what they're going
Yeah.
to be his sort of Batman run. And
Batman.
this is the big one. It's the omnibus part one. I need.
I would say I just wrote all those down and like
Yeah.
I'm over here adding them to Amazon.
I have like all the big like you can't see it because of the way that it's lit, but all of that stuff up there is basically all the Batman.
Yeah. Because I remember like it's probably like a year and a half or 2 years ago. We were talking about like I have them over here too. I've got like
Death and Return of Superman. Yeah.
I've got to start getting back into those, man.
But yeah, I mean, look at that. If you look at the Death and Return of Superman, the suit that that Ultraman is wearing is very reminiscent of that, and so maybe that's what a route they could go.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Oh man, I cannot believe how freaking happy I am to be talking about DC stuff again, and just how. Because imagine if this were a dud. Imagine if this
it would be
came out.
bad. Well, let's talk about that a little bit because that's another part I went to. So
Yeah.
all the big stuff that's going on in Warner Brothers right now. So I mean,
Yeah, what is going on?
Right. So essentially, a couple years ago, God, it's like this is what screwed over the DCU. It's the same thing that screwed over Warner Brothers forever. Is the company keeps getting bought and keeps getting merged with all this stuff. So I mean, God, you can go all the way back to the 90s, right? Like Warner Brothers merges with Time Warner, which is like Ted Turner's company. That's like CNN and the Weather Channel and TBS and TNT, and then they merge with like AOL and this the big thing, and that kind of screwed everything up. Ultimately, then it floats around, and then it ends up merging again with like AT&T buys it in in the middle of 10 years ago. They bought it because they were like, hey, everyone's going to be buying phones. They were a little ahead of the game. I think now they actually, or their plan would be would work better, in that they bought Warner Brothers because they were like, everyone's going to be on their phones. We should own a streaming service. And just really expensive. They took on a ton of debt in order to do it, because they also bought DirecTV, and it was just this big, it was way too much debt, and they were drowning in debt.
Yeah.
Because actually cell phone companies have this huge problem where Verizon faces it too. They all do, is that they're constantly in this state of upping their infrastructure, because they always have to, they're always, oh, now we're doing 5G towers, now we're doing 6G towers. So, and it's like really expensive to do.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So they were just carrying too much debt, and they're also carrying this content company and Warner Brothers. So they said, all right. So essentially Discovery Channel came in and bought it / kind of merged with it.
Yeah.
Essentially Warner Brothers is actually worth way more. They sort of bought it, kind of took control of it, and took on a ton of their debt. Well, then they're drowning in debt. So they canceled a bunch of stuff, which like that Batgirl movie and stuff. And then they had a bunch of flops, because they really thought the DC EU was going to be like the savior. And then like Black Adam flopped, and the Flash didn't hit, and those Fantastic Beasts movies were like garbage. You know what I mean? And so they just had a lot of flops, and it was too expensive. So now they are breaking apart, not into Warner Brothers and Discovery, but they're going to be breaking apart into two companies, where they said, okay, what we're going to do now is essentially we're going to turn into a TV company, which will be like Discovery Channel and all that stuff that's on your TV, but it's going to rip apart like CNN and like all the Time Warner stuff, like the Weather Channel and TBS and TNT, which actually makes way more sense logistically. And then on the other side is going to be what they're calling like the streaming company. And that's going to be like HBO, which is the big money maker I mean, that's by far their best asset, period. Nothing even comes. And then they're hoping they can turn DC into the same thing Marvel has, and then also revitalize Harry Potter. So what they've said is what we want is, these are our core things, like DC, Harry Potter, Westeros, and whatever the other one is. I'm blanking on it right now. But they said those are an HBO like stuff. They said these are like our big Lord of the Rings, I think. Also too. Or
because the films and stuff, right?
The films, exactly. Like boom, these are our big franchises we need to focus on and make money. So now the big rumor is, but this all might change, because literally everything depended on this movie. So much hinged on this movie, because if this movie was like a big flop, who knows what could happen. But now it might just exist on its own. But the big rumor is that Sony wants it, is that Sony wants to step in and buy it, because Sony views all of those things as huge properties for PlayStation, like game of because Sony's in a big war against Microsoft, right? And Nintendo to some degree, but really Microsoft for the gaming sphere. And they also make movies too, and they are a way bigger company, and and so they could actually do it. That actually creates a really interesting scenario that could happen. And Jimmy and I talked about this on our Ben the Neat podcast. Is if that happens, if Sony actually does step in and buy Warner Brothers, now its price is going up because this movie, and hopefully it could just exist on its own. Unfortunately, David Zaslav will still be the CEO, and he's awful as the CEO. But if Sony does buy it, then you have a very interesting situation in which Sony also owns the film and TV rights to Spider-Man, and there's nothing that Disney can say about it.
Wow.
Because Sony refuses to sell those rights to Disney. Yeah. So there is a scenario in which you want to get real crazy. You could bring Spider-Man in to the DC movie universe.
That would be great. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
Totally crazy. If they bought it, they would own DC and also Spider-Man. It would be
nuts. So wait, wasn't there some didn't the Spider-Man actor Tom Holland didn't he talk about like some sort of negotiation that he was in
He
for?
Yeah, it's because
He was trying to negotiate that whole.
he's in and he's in this weird middle ground where he's like, hey, like I do
That's
the
his
Marvel
character.
movies, but he's
Right.
also, it's like it's all up to Sony because they're the ones which is why Sony puts out all the other stuff. That's why they still have their own like Venom and
Yeah.
Craven and Spider, or whatever that terrible
Right.
Spider movie was with Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Fanning,
Oh yeah.
Madam
Yeah.
Web, whatever, like Craven.
Yeah.
Like they still have that because actually I think they are, in order to keep that intellectual property every few years, they have to put out something, whether it's a game or a movie. But they also have Spider-Verse, which is huge.
Right.
And you want to know what? Actually, the Spider-Verse, which is like massive franchise, right?
Yeah.
Those animated films, they went to Warner Brothers, and you can they went to Warner Brothers, and you can there's concept artwork they've released, and they said we want to do this, but we want to do it with Batman Beyond, and they said no.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
totally stupid.
So,
I know, because Batman Beyond with that art style would be so freaking phenomenal.
Right. Man, that's pretty crazy. That's so weird to like think about the different rights and how those things would play out. I do know that's one of the reasons why like Peter Jackson and the Lord of the Rings films, they're trying to like, they're worried if they don't do something in a certain amount of time, they could like lose the rights or it goes back to the negotiation or something. And that's why they created that animated War of the Rohirrim. They just put that out because it's kind of like, hey, we need to buy.
Did you watch that? Was that good? It looked cool.
The only thing I could say about it was it was good. It was definitely it just happens to be, it's not the reason it's not like fantastic and like this, it's not an inspiring story. It's a true story that like Tolkien told, but it's like it's just really, it's very straightforward. It's very and very gritty. And so the cool thing, everyone thought they were going to change it, and basically they kind of did a slap in the face to Amazon because Rings of Power is trash. I mean, Rings of Power it sucks. It sucks. And
I'm
ruined everything over there. They've like,
I actually think that's a reason, by the way. I actually think that's part of the reason that they had to cancel Wheel of Time. Yeah. Is because the budget for Rings of Power is so big that they're like, well, we have to make this work. And so we have to, because Wheel of Time actually got at season 3, everyone liked it.
Yeah, they loved it. It was turning around. It was turning around and going the right direction. And then like all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we don't have any money for it though, because we've had to pour everything into Rings of Power, and we put our budget over there into a complete fan fiction, because Rings of Power is not based on Tolkien stories. It's really just, it's a time compressed clusterfuck is what it is. Okay. It's absolute mess. But anyways, so I think you're right. Like, Sony and those guys, you got to use the rights to keep some of that ownership of those properties. And so again, I love that HBO is doubling down on the Harry Potter stuff. This DC
they're
universe.
redoing it.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, have you seen the memes that people have been making about it?
Well, no, what?
So there's all these memes about it now, because now that they're going with a black Snape, there's like all these things that Harry says that it's like, ooh, no. But when he says stuff like, well, would you want to run into Snape in the middle of the night?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy because I think it's gonna work out. I
think it will too. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about, like, remember when in House of the Dragon, when they House Valerion, right, when they came out and everyone freaked out, like, oh my god,
it ended up being a great part of the story.
It was great. It ended up being really
totally
really cool.
Worked into the story and made sense.
Yeah. So I think they have a plan for that race swap. I think they actually have a plan for that whole idea. Like, there's a big reason they did it. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think it will play emotionally somehow. So we'll see what they do.
Now James Potter is going to seem racist.
I know. Well, actually, I think he's a jerk. So I'm kind of like, I think, hey, I think it's actually leaning into people who are pro Snape. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be sort of like Snape's. The Snape fans are going to be really rooting for it. I think, but we'll see. Yeah. I think it's smart though, don't you? Like, to go and double down on it. If you have you're sitting on for years, all of that rich, IP. Just
well, and I think that's part of the reason DC is. That's actually one of the things that Warner Brothers has said about DC right now, which is, they're like, Marvel's in a lull. And actually, a lot of these characters, like, we didn't really use them and stuff like that. I mean, it's like Man of Steel was 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yes.
More than that. Man of Steel was
Right.
like 12 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're gonna reboot Harry Potter. It's like that was like a long time ago.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
we remember it because we're getting old.
I know,
You know?
I know.
But it's like,
Yeah.
that wasn't that for a lot. Like if you're a teenager right now, Harry Potter, you didn't watch it.
Don't know what it
It
is.
wasn't coming out when you're a kid,
No,
right?
have no clue. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
you could be 10 years, you could be 10 years old right now. You didn't see, you've never even seen Man of Steel.
For sure, for sure. And so, like you said, they have those characters, use them. They definitely, that's what
Like
frustrated me.
look at the Spider-Man movie. For a lot of people, it was like,
Yeah,
that was like part of the cool deal. Was like, who's your Spider-Man?
exactly. You had the
You know,
generational.
we're all like Tobey Maguire,
Tobey
and
Maguire.
all the
Yeah,
kids
like,
are like, no, Tom Holland. You
oh,
know?
dude, when he showed up, I was like almost emotional. I was like, oh my God, like Tobey Maguire is the reason that Spider-Man movie is the reason all of these other
Yeah.
things are here. People need to remember that. People have forgotten that movie. What was that? 2006,
It changed
2005?
everything.
Changed everything.
Because I mean, the Keaton, like I remember the Michael Keaton Batman movies were big, and then
Yeah, they were.
Batman Forever were big, but the Spider-Man movie changed everything.
It was
Like,
international, but it was
because it came out at the same time as like Lord of the Rings, and it was
Oh, yeah.
there's a
Yep.
lot of money to be made.
A lot of money to be made.
This.
Yeah, and this kind of stuff. So as you start adapting books, all this, you started to see books, comic books, the superheroes, all that stuff started right at that time. And again, if you got the rights to make DC stuff, again, the animated stuff is cool that they've done. I need to get caught up on that. But dude, live action, DCU, this is going to be insane.
Feels great. And I think that, and we can close up here because we're running on an hour and a half to this podcast. Ez and I could talk for 4 hours about it.
Yeah, we'll come back.
No, we're gonna have to come back and talk more. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when I walked out of that theater, I was like, wow, this is good to great. You know, I mean, it was definitely a little slow at first. I did roll my eyes at Bizarro, but at the end of the day, I was just like, this is a good movie. Like, this is definitely a movie like I will stream in the future. Yeah. And you know, we'll have to see more to see where it ultimately ranks. I mean, it's still, I'm a Batman guy, so it's still hard for me to, consider. It's like, The Dark Knight is like special.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like that's like a special
that's
level of movie. But I think it's right. I mean, to me, it's like it's right up there with like all the other Marvel movies. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it's a 9 out of 10 for me. There was a few quirky things here and there, but there's a lot in it. It's definitely jam packed. I need to watch it again. I've only watched it once, and so I know.
I think I'm gonna go back.
I know. I'm thinking about tomorrow going back. I'm like glad we recorded today because I'm like I might go watch it tomorrow and then come back with more deets and theories and thoughts and stuff. So I think we need to kind of keep doing that and keep track of stuff. Maybe when I watch I'll go back and watch Peacemaker, and I'll watch season 1 and come back and talk to you about it too, because I really want to dive into this I want this to be a thing that over on my channel that we start to kind of make content for, right? I mean,
DC down, 100%.
Just go back and forth, like watch a series, talk about it, comic book thing, because this is something Matt and I, for years, there's just never been something cohesive like that we could continuously. All right, here's the next thing that's coming up. Like there were so many big gaps, and you weren't sure what they were going to
spread out. And then they like fired directors, and it was a big,
Yeah, and so now it's like bang, bang, bang. We got stuff coming out. We're going to culminate a few projects that were back there before. Moving forward, it's going to be great. That's all I wanted to say. Look forward to more Matt and Ez content on freaking DC Universe, because we've been waiting for this our whole lives.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. All right. Well, so this is actually, Ez and I are we're posting this on both of our channels. So Ez, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, again, so doing stuff over on Flannel Wizard. I got some cool stuff over there, some shorts, different things. The podcast with my wife, Shell Cottage Radio, we're doing there as well. But yeah, just follow me at the Flannel Wizard.
Yeah, and you can follow me anywhere on the internet at Super Gains Bros, or Box Trick, Retro Gaming Podcast, Bend the Knee, all of the usual places. But yeah, we'll have to come back and talk more, because man, it's just so good. Yeah, so so go watch Peacemaker season 1, and then we'll
reconvene. Down.
But with that, I think this is a great place to end, or we'll just ramble for another half hour, 45 minutes here. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.